thank you so much for joining us for this special feature interview we have in store for you during Global Entrepreneurship Week. Today I am here with Thami Schweichler, and he is the Managing Director and founder of Makers Unite. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about this because we have the man himself here. Thank you so much for joining us today, Thami.
Very welcome. Really nice to be here.
So firstly, could you tell us a little bit more about your business and what inspired you to develop your idea?
Yeah, for sure. So Makers Unite is a social enterprise that has the main focus of fostering social inclusion, enabling possibilities for newcomers with a refugee background to get into the job market. And we do this by producing sustainable clothing and sustainable merchandising for companies. We have our own tailor team where newcomers they had a lot of textile experience coming from Syria and other countries in the Middle East. They get a job and they work in the production of this clothing, which is designed by a group of newcomers, a group of locals. Those are Dutch people that have a fashion background or commercial background, and they help us to create propositions. They're brought into the sewing machine. And what we do with our income is that we reinvest it into a social inclusion program that is focused on creating chances for newcomers with a creative background. So we support them during 6 weeks to create a career plan, to step on their feet and move on into the job market. So we make connections after this program to connect them to the creative sector. So basically, you can see the Makers Unite has a business that exists to support the social inclusion program, which has up to now a little bit over 210 refugees that were trained. And then also in our partner sites, we're happy to work with very nice companies such as Ben & Jerry's, Arriva, it's a grand transportation company, Patagonia, museums, and a lot of companies that are busy with a transition towards sustainability and believe that we can have an added value to it. It always started for us not with a business concept, but it started with a social challenge. So how can create and foster social inclusion and then generate economic activities for those who are marginalized in the population, but do this by making business. So develop a business case around the case of migration, identifying talents, identifying opportunities in the sector, for instance, the creative sector in the Netherlands, and creating an opportunity that is providing a benefit that is not only financial, it's cultural, it's social, but most importantly, we have our own intention of making the world a better place.
That's fantastic. It sounds like such an amazing organisation, and the work that you're doing is so vital. What challenges did you have to overcome when you were starting up this journey, when you had this idea but you maybe didn't know how to get started? What challenges did you have to overcome?
Yeah, I think I would say this as a social entrepreneur, you're going to face two challenges. The social one, which is you have to create a proposition that delivers impact and that is useful for those who are benefited. So I have to be very centered in the ultimate beneficiary and working constantly to improve your proposition to make sure that you're relevant to the challenge you're willing to tackle. But alongside, you're just a startup. So you have to create a new product, you have to find your market, you have to find the right fit to the market. So this have to go hand in hand. And I would say that for us, the biggest challenge was making sure that we would create a product that would generate reasonable income to sustain the whole organization and our social mission. And this takes time. I think it's really important for a starting entrepreneur to be focused on, okay, how can I learn from my mistakes? How can I leverage on them? And I can make sure that I can grow and pivot as soon as possible until you find this right combination of something that can bring benefit.
Yeah, definitely. It's about finding what works for you in your business. What have you enjoyed most about your business journey? Obviously, you have come on to be so successful. What has been a highlight for you?
Well, I think there are several things. For me, mostly my starting point is social and the social belief that we can create impact. The most rewarding thing is that every day I walk into the company and I meet people that were creating impact, and I meet beautiful stories. And I have so many people that now they have benefited by what we do, and on top of it, we are making the world cleaner. So our sustainable production process makes it cleaner. So conscious is clean. For me, I think the most rewarding is to see after these years. It's been 5 years now. That we have a lot of recognition internationally and nationally of what we're doing. And for instance, I don't know, having international prizes or TED Talks, etc. And then at some point to say, okay, the idea really works. And at the moment that you realize that the plan is happening, and you have a team that's engaged, that reflect your values, and you can rest assured that the social business is happening. I think that's really that really brings a lot of joy in the journey. It's only a little detail that it takes time. I think you have to be very um, how can I say, you have to be crazy and naive, because if you're not naive, you're just crazy. That makes a good entrepreneur. I think you have to keep believing that it's going to happen.
I love that. So knowing what you know now, knowing all the processes you've went through, knowing that it takes time, is there anything that you would have done differently when you were first starting out?
So I think well, I'm actually going through this process now. We're starting a new spin-off of Makers Night, and then you see what happens when you're going to use all your learning from the last 5 years to start something new. Well, it takes much shorter, because you are avoiding the mistakes. For instance, for me, it has to do with failing, making sure you can test your idea and test your assumption and collect the learnings that you have as soon as possible, using as minimal resources as you can. Creating a proof of concept, testing it out, and learning from mistakes, and killing your darlings. I think that's the most important in the role of an entrepreneur. Especially because when you start something, you are so attached and so passionate about what you do that it's difficult to let it go. But I think letting it go was, for me, the biggest learning in this whole trajectory, to create something valuable.
Yeah, that is certainly something we come across here a lot at Bridge to Business. Your idea doesn't necessarily always end up the way that you envisioned it. There is a journey. What
Yeah.
advice would you give to someone who was trying to become an entrepreneur? They've maybe got an idea, but they don't know where to start. How can they make it a reality?
And watch my TED talk. No kidding, but it is really about this, because it's I call it changing the world is a phone call away.
Mhm.
A lot of people have amazing ideas and very very inspiring plans, but they don't dare to take the first step because they're like, oh, it's too difficult, it's too far away from my reality. I don't know how to implement it. I don't know how to get the puzzle together. But I really believe it's really important for you to take the first step and just make this phone call to someone that you know. Hey, look, I have this idea. What do you think? And then collect this input. You call the next person, and then you make a plan, and then you step by step. But really believe that there's a butterfly effect into creating impact and generating positivity in the world, and that it really gets disseminated by diffusing your idea as soon as possible. So my very humble advice is we really make that phone call, because it really happens if you believe in it.
Definitely. That's something that we preach here at Bridge to Business, that making connections and reaching out can do the world of good. Definitely. Thank you so much for your time today, Thami. It was a short and sweet interview, but full of so much wisdom that I'm sure our students and everyone who will watch this video will be so, so grateful for. Thank you for giving up your time and speaking to us today.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. So everybody's welcome to Makers Night in Amsterdam. You can check more information about what we do on our website, and you can also reach me up if you have further questions.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Thami.